2, 1. What's up, mi gente? Let's get right into this week's topic. It has begun a new decade. And let's just say it's not how people wanted it to start, but because of everything going on, I kid you not, I have been on the fence. I want to say for like last month, I've been trying to debate, should I or should I? Like, I know what I want to get is more of a want than a need, because I don't need this in my life. But because of the situation going on, I'm like, there's no better thing out there to invest my money and be able to kill some time than a game console. Never did I think growing up and playing computer games such as RuneScape, I can safely say that at the age, was I 13, maybe 12? Yeah, it was probably like 6th or 7th grade. I used to run from elementary school, and I used to run home just to play this game. And I remember my username. I tried using it, like logging in not that long ago, maybe like 2 or 3 years ago. And it was G-unit 3000 or 3030. It was something 3000. And obviously you can tell by that time, G-unit was like the number one thing. And I was like, yeah. And all I used to do in that game was like literally just chop trees. Like, my chopping tree Reiki was so high, I used to be able to sell like one log of tree for like 80 or 120 coins. Then I used to like, little did you know you were playing a game of like what life would be in the future. Obviously I don't cut wood, but you train your mind and like, okay, you got to work this hard, you got to put this many hours, and that's what I would do. And then obviously you get to fight people in the forest and stuff, and that was pretty fun. But besides that, I don't remember. It went from RuneScape, then we had like a PlayStation 2, and then one, I think my nephew got it for either his Christmas or his birthday gift. And it was a Xbox, and it was like the very first Xbox. And it's crazy because now the time that we're in, there's new game consoles due to come out at the end of this year. Living here in Chicago, it's like I have friends who are literally gamers, and like people who I never thought, like I got some friends who have families and are literally gamers, and I'm just like, here's the background story with me. So when I was growing up and we transitioned from PlayStation to Xbox, and PlayStation was cool because that was like my youth, like that was like my innocence years, right? Like I used to play with my nephew this army game, which was like toy armies, these great toy armies, and we used to just like spend hours on it. And and what was it, I forgot. We used to play that. What other game did we used to play on PlayStation? I think it was like WWE. We used to play that. And this is back then when, you'd buy the CD and the game's like $70 and you can beat the game in one day, but guess what? Your mom or your dad, they're not going to buy you a new game. So you got to play with that game until either your next birthday or the next Christmas, or if you got great grades on your report card. And I remember growing up, I was just like, man, like I really, it was fun because as a kid, like you get to kill time and you get to play. And I was playing, and next thing I know, it was like, and here's a flashback. When I was in like maybe 1st or 2nd grade, I remember my dad had a Nintendo, and him and we used to just play Super Mario Bros. And this is like a memory that I have locked in my mind that like I will forever cherish just because like it was him and we were just playing these little, like 2-button, like 5-button controllers, and we used to just we used to play Mario and Luigi. And I remember we used to always try, and I don't know, I think we might have beat the game once, but that's a cool memory. And then it went from there to PlayStation and then to Xbox, like I said. And in between that Xbox, I used my Dell desktop as like a gaming computer. Worst idea. And when I say gaming, like the only thing I ever played was RuneScape. I never got into like World of Warcrafts or whatever worlds or witches game there is out. I think it's World of Warcraft. Never got into that. Never became that much of a gamer. But then when we had Xbox, then my nephew kind of took over, and we used to have to share games. So like we used to play this ATV game that was like literally just racing around tracks trying to get the best time and like doing tricks. And it evolved. I think that was like, I can't pinpoint the moment when it got to a point where we were playing so much that him as a kid and being younger than me, he would always have advantage. So like he would like snitch on me and tell my mom like, oh, he's been playing too long. So during that time was when I kind of transitioned from being like the game life or like a gamer to like exiting and going more like riding my bike and being more like outside, you know. And I was also becoming a teenager. And like I said, back then there was like gaming, it was a big thing. It was just, I didn't know too many except my nephew who was playing like Call of Duty or Halo. Oh, we used to play Halo. No, actually, now that I mention it, I used to get a few games in because when I was in high school, all of my friends had Xbox. And I think maybe freshman, sophomore years but see that doesn't work because I remember my mom had like we couldn't play video games during the week. Man, my memory it's failing me right now. But regardless, the fact, I remember that when we got that Xbox, my nephew used to trick and my mom used to be like, oh, you gotta get off. And because of that is where I stamp the fact that I never continued being a gamer, right? Like now, even to this day, like, what am I, 26? I was probably 16. And sure, I played video games, and trust me, I'm one of those guys that will talk smack to anybody. I'll be like, yo, you got Madden? You got 2K? Doesn't even matter what gaming system or what year the game is. I'll smoke you. I went to one of my friend's house a month and a half back, and we were playing, we played Mortal Kombat. I got killed. I won maybe like 1 or 2 matches. But we played, I don't know, like 20, 30 matches, and I got, destroyed in all of them. And I told him, I was like, yo, you got 2K? He's like, yeah, I got to download it. I was like, what do you mean? He's like, yeah, I got PlayStation, but you need to download the games now. So, like, that's how disattached I've been from this whole, life is game or game is life. Like, I'm not in it anymore. And it's interesting because, like, now you get to buy everything online. You have to download it. And if you don't have your internet connected to your game system, like, I think it took him half a day to download that game, which I think he said he just had to re-download it. And that was 2K. And I was like, man, like, and it's fun, you just get to play. And like, I'm more into that. Or FIFA used to be another game I used to tell people. I think during high school, I would play with my nephew. But at that point, he already took ownership of like, and he still games to this day. Like, I seen him, last week, and he was at home and he was just playing video games. I'm like, man, I even told him, I was like, man, I wish that I was able to like keep this hobby, just because of the fact that like, damn, I'm becoming a professional. I didn't even stutter or anything during that little cards falling. But I told him, I was like, man, I wish. He was like, oh, it's never too late. And he's right about it. But right now I'm in the process, and I'm going to give you a quick sneak peek of what's going on in my life. This week, which is today, I'm actually shooting 3 episodes. So I'm shooting episode 15, 16, and 17. So I got basically like a little bit under an hour of shooting today. But the reason is, hopefully, tomorrow I will be buying a new camera. And I'm excited for that. If I have to order it or if I have to wait, I have to take this camera in, and then once I take this camera in, I'm gonna be able to purchase a new one. So pretty excited about that. I'm more excited about the fact that I can finally flip up the mirror and see what I'm recording, because right now I just press record and I'm just like God, take the wheel and Jesus, take the wheel, you know? And that's what's happening. I mean, thankfully I've been able to kind of maneuver and figure out like the positioning, but I kind of also, with everything going on, I've also been kind of striving to take a break, and I don't know what's gonna happen, but for now I'm gonna start with the camera. I don't think I'm gonna buy a gaming system unless if it's like those 30 or like 40 maybe. I don't know, I think I've seen like $50 you could buy like all the old games and just, I don't know, maybe a Nintendo Switch. I don't know. I have to do my research, but like I said, there's so much going on around my life right now that I don't think me sitting down and playing video games is the smartest thing to do, especially that we're like a month away from summer and like the weather's getting better. So the last thing I really want to do is kind of stay inside, even though it's a mandated, but every day everything is changing. So yeah, I mean, we'll see what happens, but you know, crazy that I didn't know. Like I watch people like from FaZe Clan and you know this team and this group and how big you know these gamers are and the computers that they have, and like you know I'm just like wow, like that's really a world. But at the end of the day, it's still like a job, you know. And with all that being said, I will see you next week.